Hey guys, it's been a while. I thought I would do a bit of like a business Q&A while I'm packing orders. That way I'm multitasking, because if you've been following me for a while, you would know that I was expecting and now my son is almost 3 months old. I feel like when people say they grow within a blink of an eye, it's so true. I can't believe he's already almost 3 months. But he's having a nap at the moment, so I always try to do work in between while he's napping, which is a bit of a challenge sometimes, but I mean, there's pros and cons of being your own boss, and one of them is I guess the pro is that you can choose your own hours, but the con is that if you do have kids, then you know your time is limited. But yeah, so I'm just printed out the shipping labels and matching them to the thank you cards that I've written out, and then I've got to pick the orders, which I just look on either my laptop or the iPad instead of printing out the shipping, the packing list, because to me I think it's just a waste of paper. But yeah, and then I thought at the same time I posted up like a TikTok story and an Instagram story asking for questions, so I could answer them in this video. So I'm just gonna get them up. I think that's my son waking up. I just put him down for a nap, but sometimes he squirms and he's not actually awake, but I might have to go check. Alright, I just went and checked on him. He's asleep now. I'll just readjusted the camera because I'm going to be picking the orders so you can see me. But one of the questions I got on TikTok is, did your first set of sales come from TikTok? Did you see any sales from influencer marketing? So I'll answer the first question, which is, did your first set of sales come from TikTok? So I wouldn't say my first set of sales, like truthfully my first set of sales were probably friends and family, but then after that the first set of sales was probably from TikTok. I would say majority of our organic traffic first starts with TikTok or Instagram, but I feel like yeah, most of the community I built was from TikTok, and then from there they follow us on Instagram, and I think that's when you can really I suppose justify someone's purchase, because it doesn't always take one time for people to see a brand and then immediately purchase from them. It takes them a few times to be exposed to that brand and to build up that trust, especially if it's a, you know, like a not well-known brand, like I'm a small business. So you know, if you know personally, you probably need to build that trust to be able to purchase online, because you can't see it in person. So yeah, I would say yes and no. I think TikTok is very important in this day and age when it comes to marketing. You also don't know what could blow up. Like some things don't go viral, and I suppose don't aim to go viral, but also you just don't know how many people you could be exposed to, so don't rule it out. Okay, I had a feeling that my head was cut off in the last clip, and it was, so I just readjusted the camera. I don't have a camera with like a flip screen, so I have to keep going back and checking what I just recorded just to make sure that I'm in the frame, so that's a bit tricky, but anyways, you don't need to see my face. I suppose you just need to be able to hear me. So I'm just picking the orders, as I said. But yeah, so that was the first question about TikTok, and the second part of the question is, did you see any sales from influencer marketing? And I've mentioned this in a couple of TikTok videos before, but I would say that influencer marketing doesn't always show direct sales. What it does do is create social proof. You would like to see other people wearing your brand. Word of mouth is a strong way of marketing your product. And so when these influencers are wearing your brand, people might not purchase straight away, like with TikTok when they see your video for the first time. But what it does do is create that brand awareness. So they're like, oh, might click onto your Instagram after they've seen it on an influencer's post, and they might follow you. And that might be the end of that interaction. But then when they're scrolling Instagram again and they come across your brand, they're like, oh yeah, I remember seeing that brand on that influencer's page. Maybe I'll go look on their website. So I think it does play an important part in marketing, but it doesn't always give you direct sales or a direct return. Sorry, I'm trying to remember to pack orders while I'm answering questions. Yeah, I would say the most, what I would get returns from, sales from, is a combination of different elements of marketing. That would include influencer marketing, organic marketing like on social media, and also paid ads. So that all comes into play when it comes to making sales. Tips for SMS marketing. So I don't actually use SMS marketing yet. I'm still trying to stay on track with email marketing, if I'm being honest. I use it a lot for when we have things come back into stock. I'll let our email subscribers know. But I need to remember to try and make it a more regular thing, because one, I pay for so I use Klaviyo and I pay for that monthly, and it's not cheap, so I need to be taking advantage of that marketing service. Eventually I would like to use or try SMS marketing, because I feel like some people get sick of email marketing, or it just goes into their spam and they never see it anyway. How do you achieve consistent sales? To be completely honest, my sales aren't even as consistent as maybe some people would think. There's some months where we make, like, the highest I think I've made in one month is $30,000. But then there are some months where we've done as low as $5,000. So I just want people to remember that I am still working on consistent sales myself, but I would say the average that we make is probably 10 grand. And this took a while. So before I was working full-time on my business, I was working full-time as a paralegal, and then slowly dropped down to part-time as my business grew, and I wanted to focus more on that. So I think, one, because I had limited time to work on the business, it kind of pushed me more to focus on when I could work on it. And I mean, it's pretty obvious, the more you put into something, the more, I suppose, you'll get out of it. And also the more you learn and adapt and, you know, try out different things, because some things work and some things don't. That's when you're able to adjust things to make it to make more sales. But they're not always as consistent as I would like them to be either. Answer a couple questions from my Instagram as well. First one is, how are you finding having a baby and managing a business? It's very, very challenging. I knew obviously it was going to be a challenge. Have my good days and my bad days. I actually had a bit of a cry the past couple of days just because it can be really, really overwhelming. Being a mum, you know, like, I think people underestimate stay-at-home mums. Even that in itself is a full-time job. Looking after a child is exhausting, mentally and physically. Your time is stretched just looking after a child. And then when it comes to managing a business, even if you don't have a child, that is stressful and your time is stretched. So adding those two things together and trying to balance the two is extremely overwhelming. But at the same time, it does have its pros and cons. I'm able to stay home with my son for, you know, as long as I would like. You know, I don't have to rush back to work after mat leave. But then there's that con that I technically was never on mat leave. I never had a break. Literally the next day after coming home from the hospital, I was packing orders. So in that way, that is definitely a con. I don't know, I guess you just have to weigh up what's more important to you. But to answer your question, I am doing okay. It's just, yeah, it's very challenging. I'm very lucky that I have the support that I have from my partner. He is extremely hands-on with our son and also with helping me with the business. Without him, I honestly don't know if I could do it. Yeah, I think it's just more getting into the groove of things. Especially with a baby, you don't have a you can have somewhat of a routine, but you can't have a schedule. So learning to let go of certain things, especially like as a clean freak and as a perfectionist, I just have to learn to let go of certain things. Like if the house is a bit messier than I would like it, because I have to prioritize him and then the business, then it is what it is. Laundry and dishes can always wait. But yeah, I wouldn't change it for the world, but there are days, like the past couple of days, where have been really challenging. At the moment, I'm just trying to work on catching up with certain things. When I was pregnant, I slacked off a lot because I didn't have the energy or the motivation to do things for the business. And obviously that, like I said, if you're not putting the effort in, you're not going to get much out of it. So that was my own fault. So I'm playing catch up with certain things now, like in terms of, like saving receipts because it's tax time. So it's been super stressful trying to catch up with that. And then also packing orders, getting orders out on time, planning collections, ordering inventory. When you're a small business owner and you don't have any employees, you're literally doing like 6 jobs at once. So those 6 jobs plus being a mum, some people will probably think I'm insane, and I probably am going insane a little bit, but it is also really rewarding knowing that I'm able to provide for my son and be with him. And I just keep telling myself that these hard times at the moment I'll be able to get over those hurdles and it will benefit our future in the long run. It's hard to stay positive sometimes when you're having a really stressful day and you're running on minimal sleep, but yeah, we're managing. I'm just really grateful that I have that support. Not everyone does. How do you come up with content ideas? I would say when it comes to creating content, I try to see what is trending at the moment, like on TikTok and Instagram, and then adapting that to my business. And so if there's like a funny trend that's happening on TikTok, It might not be business or jewelry related, but I can adapt it to make it that way. Also, when it comes to content, you have to work around maybe things that you're trying to promote at the time. So for example, I just launched a new collection, so most of the content that I've posted recently revolves around that. So filming videos or taking photos of the new products. Some days I like to set aside a certain day of the week to just film content and to take photos of products, that kind of thing. So it's really all trial and error. Like, I don't have a certain way that I come up with ideas. Sometimes I'll just come up with them. And other times I will scroll through TikTok and find a video and think, oh, I could do something similar to that. I try not to copy. I try and make it my own as much as possible. Obviously, everyone gets inspiration from somewhere, but yeah, I think it's really important to stand out and make it your own. Also, keep in mind when you're coming up with content ideas, what is the purpose of that content? So having a balance of different types of content in terms of, is this entertaining, like is it a funny video, or is this educational, like you're teaching your customers or followers about your product, or is it inspirational, like are you trying to show people how, you know, for me, like styling a certain jewelry piece, that kind of thing. Or maybe it's like an influencer post. So not just having one type of content where it's like just funny videos, having a mixture of all those things is important. Maybe that's one way you could brainstorm ideas. Like if you want to aim to post 3 times a week, you could aim to create one educational video, one inspirational photo, and one educational video or whatever. So my son woke up and I fed him, changed, and we did a bit of tummy time, had lunch, and now he's down for another nap, so I can finish packing orders. That's usually how it goes down. Like I'll probably, if he sleeps for an hour, I'll be able to pack the jewelry in the jewelry boxes, and then he'll wake up, and then I'll finish packing them in their mailboxes after that. So I'm just folding some tissue paper. But I will continue answering some questions that I got on Instagram. Did you get an accountant to help you with taxes? Yes, I did. When I first started, I started off as a sole trader. If you're in Australia, I'm not sure, I think it might be slightly different in other countries, but I changed over to a company in, I think October last year. So with that, I hired an accountant, or I guess he's like a tax agent, I'm not sure what the difference is, to be honest, to help me like establish the company and do my taxes and stuff. So I now have an accountant and a bookkeeper, which are different, to help me with that kind of thing. But a lot of it I still have to do on my own, and I'm hoping, like, as my revenue grows, I'll be able to outsource more things, and that's definitely one of them, because the finance side of it is definitely not one of my strengths. I absolutely hate that part, so the sooner I can outsource it, the better. What was your initial setup costs? So to launch the business, I spent roughly $5,000. You could start with like less inventory than I did. I didn't start with a lot, but you could definitely start with less and just keep reinvesting back into the business. My tape dispenser is water activated, so it's a bit dry. But yeah, so that's things like the inventory, getting all the packaging, setting up the website. I did that on my own. It's relatively easy to do it by yourself on Shopify. If you're having trouble doing that, you might have to hire someone, but I would say it's pretty straightforward because they have like templates that you can use. So that's the good thing about Shopify. Yeah, I think, what other things do I pay for? Subscriptions like that I mentioned earlier, like Klaviyo. There's free email marketing things that you could use. Like I think Shopify has it. It just doesn't have the same capabilities as like MailChimp or Klaviyo. But you don't need them right at the beginning if you are trying to minimize the startup costs, and then just work your way up and get them later on. What has been the biggest benefit having your business? I think the main thing, even though it can be a challenge, is just like working when you want to work. Creating your own hours, being your own boss. That obviously has its downfalls as well, as I mentioned before, especially being a mum. But the other side of that is I get to be creative. I get to do something that I'm passionate about and work for myself, so I'm not always just like not that there's anything wrong with a 9 to 5. I actually really enjoyed my 9 to 5, but at the end of the day that wasn't my end goal. So I guess the rewarding part was being able to achieve something that I wanted to do. I guess another big benefit is just showing people that you can do it. Like, you don't need a lot of money to start. You don't need to go to uni. Like, yes, I did go to uni, but at the same time I definitely didn't need my degree to be able to start this business. If you really want this to work, you'll research it and make it work on your own. You don't have to do a course or like I said, go to uni to be able to start your own business. It's definitely been rewarding also to be able to help others. That's why I post these kind of videos. When I get people messaging me saying that I've been able to help in some way or inspire them to start their own business, that is, I guess you could call that a benefit. What websites did you use to search your stock, shipping, etc.? Honestly, everything that I learned, just Google, YouTube. You can literally Google whatever product you're looking for and this, like, the city that you live in. YouTube has so much information, hence why I'm starting to post on YouTube, so other people can learn. But yeah, it's really, even though it's difficult, I suppose when you don't have a guide, it's as simple as Googling something. And a lot of the time when people are hesitant to share, for example, their manufacturers, it's not because we don't want to help, it's because we've spent that time to research that ourselves, and our manufacturers, for example, might not work for you. If you've done that own research on your own, you know, or you can trial that for yourself to make that judgment call. Also, you just learn so much from trial and error when you're researching these kinds of things. But yeah, a lot of products you could find on Alibaba. For some reason that gets a bad rap with people. They automatically think that's going to be like bad quality, but again, Alibaba is just a platform to find different manufacturers. So obviously there's going to be some good ones, there's going to be some bad ones. yeah, you just have to research and test out their products.